Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Ladyada. With me, Mr. Ladyada on camera control and audio control, which is great today. We're broadcasting live from downtown Manhattan. That's where we do our kitting and soldering and coding and videoing and tutorializing and shipping all the electronics that you know and love. That's our home. And right now the factory's asleep, so we're doing our show. For the next hour, we'll just be chitting, well, hour-ish. We'll be chitting and chatting about what's going on in the maker community, what people are hacking and coding, tutorials, videos, guides. It's not out yet, and more. We've got a jam-packed show. Some parts are a little shorter than others, but that's okay. Let's kick it. Tell them the code so they can get some money off their next order.
That's right, the code is Adalog, 10% off an Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. User will lose it. You get a bunch of free stuff later. I'll talk about that in just a few moments. Talk about some of our live shows, including Show and Tell, which we just did. We'll do a product pick highlight of the week. Some New York City factory footage right here in New York. Some 3D printing. We got a speed up this week. We got Ion NPI, new product introduction. This week it's Forth Electronic. To buy DigiKey. Thanks, DigiKey. We got a bunch of top secret. We got new products. Could answer your questions. We do that on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. Post them up. We collect them throughout the show, and then we answer all the questions throughout the show, and of course, at the end. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer. Okay.
Yay.
So in addition to Adalog in the US, if you want, add stuff to your cart. Lady Ada, what do you got?
I'm going to intersperse with we have more than 92% of our fab made products in stock, which is like the highest, maybe 93%. It's like the highest we've had since like the chip shortage. So if you want to pick up something, we almost certainly have it in stock now, which is
If you
really
were
good.
waiting, we have it now.
We have it. And when you order from adafruit.com, you'll get some free stuff. Not only do you get 10% off, but if you order $99 or more, you get this beautiful gold Adafruit PCB coaster to keep your desk safe from your cold drink. 149 or more, you'll get a KB2040 Pro Micro pinout compatible board that is great for any microcontroller projects, has lots of GPIO, flash memory, buttons, NeoPixel, and USB-C. 199 or more, free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. And 299 or more, you'll get a free Circuit Playground Express all-in-one dev board with buttons and NeoPixels, a plenty capacitive touchpads and alligator clips. So it's really great for learning how to do all sorts of hardware projects without needing to do any soldering, breadboarding, or whatever. Just plug in a USB cable and you're ready to rock.
Okie dokie. We do a bunch of live shows. Just finished up the show and tell. It was a full cast of Adafruit folks
I
tonight.
know.
However, I'm just going to mention one highlight because we have to,
The all time.
yeah, we have to keep our show down to the shorter version tonight. Is of course, watch it later, but if you scrub all the way to the end, Liz has a project where we're outfitting one of those IKEA air quality sensors with our own board, and we're using a 3D printer to make the shape to make sure it fits in the enclosure. Very neat technique, kind of cool. Check it out. We also have a top secret video that we'll show soon. Liz and Lady are working on this. This is Liz designing the PCB. And then a lot of other stuff. Anne has some retro stuff. JP has this cool servo thing. Jepler is investigating some Zigbee stuff with CircuitPython. All sorts of neat things. Check it out. And also get a live demo of It's a Snap, our iOS app. Trevor. So, anyways, that's
Really good stuff. Yeah, like really like hard hitters. Like
yeah,
all of it was like really intense
yeah. The
projects.
entire Avengers team united.
Yeah.
So Sundays we do Desk of Ladyada, and then we do the Great Search. That's when Ladyada uses her powers of engineering to help you find things on digikey.com. And then on Tuesdays we have JP's product pick of the week. Here's this week's highlight.
CH9328 UART to HID keyboard breakout. Here is a Raspberry Pi 400. That purple cable, that's the USB output from our breakout going into the iPad. Upper right corner of the screen there, that is this Raspberry Pi right here. Just typing on the Raspberry Pi, nothing happening on the iPad, but I'm going to go ahead and run this program, sudo python code.py. And now it says listening for keyboard inputs, press escape to exit. So now this is going to send keys to my iPad. So that is the route, right? Out of the Raspberry Pi serial to our little breakout, and then USB going into whatever wants a USB keyboard. The CH9328 UART to HID keyboard breakout.
Okay, and then tomorrow, JP's workshop. You can check out that survey thing tomorrow. And then this Friday is Deep Dive with Scott. And then the following Friday, it's Deep Dive with Tim. Let's do some Python on hardware. This is news and more from our popular newsletter, Python on Hardware.
Okay, let's check it.
Yeah.
This is last week's newsletter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Refresh.
Oop. Here we go. This
I
week.
know, so I was like, wait a minute, I just looked at this.
Okay. This week, code.circuitpython.org, browser-based
Yes.
CircuitPython editor and serial terminal is now live.
Please
So
go check it out. Please
if you want to be able to edit CircuitPython code, upload, download your files.
No
from
downloads
CircuitPython
required.
board. Yep, all
In the browser.
through a serial terminal.
Chromebook, yes.
Check it out.
Your browser on your laptop, on your desktop.
Yeah. So allows you to read and write files on the USB drive, which
Or
is how it works.
through the terminal if you're using the ESP32. So the big deal is that, like, historically you edit a text file on the mass storage drive, but the classic ESP32s and the C6s don't have mass storage. They don't have native USB. So how would you connect? Well, historically, you would only be able to do Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but then you have to set it up, and it's like kind of like you have to get in to set it up. Now you have like raw serial port access. So not only do you have a REPL, but you can upload files, and it will do transparently the file uploading process for like hex type. You know, it like UU encodes it, uploads it, and then puts it on the file system for you. So it's you know, Thonny is excellent. Definitely use Thonny or Moo. But if you want to use a browser-based only editor, check it out. It's in beta, but it should be functional. I think Melissa took care of a bunch of bugs and went on vacation.
Yeah.
Now's a great time to test it.
You can check out the blog post with an extended version of all of this, and there is a GitHub repo which has all of this. It's
Yeah,
open source.
it's open source.
So do check it out. Other things in the newsletter, I mentioned this last week. I thought this was a neat article. It's in the newsletter this week, how Raspberry Pi built a silicon design team. You can figure out and find out how they were able to do their microcontroller. There's a really neat fortune teller robot with Raspberry Pi and Python, differences between the Arduino Nano and Raspberry Pi Pico, the Python Software Foundation news. You want to check that out. They have their language summit coming up soon. And then all the things that are going on in the community, including a lot of projects. So from cat finders to sorting candy colors to pretty much anything you can imagine with Python and hardware, it's all in there. You can get this newsletter delivered every single week to your inbox from adafruitdaily.com. You can read it online. You can get it on GitHub. You can get it on RSS feed. You can get an email. Come on by. All right, let's do some open source hardware news. That's where we talked about some of our product projects and more. Ladyada, what is on the big board this week?
Okay, this week we had a lot of guides go up for some products. Let's see, we had the DS2484 I2C to one wire bus adapter, handy for boards where you don't have one wire capability built in, especially like single board computers like the Raspberry Pi and others. If you want to talk to a DS18V20, we now have Arduino and CircuitPython code. Check it out. JP did this fun project, the MIDI host messenger. So this is a device that does MIDI the opposite way. If you have a synthesizer or sequencer where it's expecting to connect traditionally to a computer, but you want to connect to it from a device that has like a DIN5 MIDI, this takes MIDI messages in and then outputs them to USB host. So often people do the other way around. They're like, oh, I have a USB computer and then I have a MIDI adapter to an old synth. This is for newer synths to older equipment. It's like HDMI to VGA, VGA to HDMI, the other way. So it's a really good demo and really kick the tires on the USB host capability of the RP2040 feather, but they got really good latency in the end, good performance. Also updated the UPDI friend guide. We forgot to add the HV, the high voltage UPDI friend. Sorry about that. I think we just slipped our mind. We added it. Files are up, as well as demonstration on how to edit the boards.txt. And also did a guide for the new HX711 24-bit ADC for strain gauges. That's new from last week. We have an I2C version of the sensor, but some people really want the 2-wire version. Why? I don't know, but you know what? I love making people happy. So now we have both ADCs available and guides for them too.
Alrighty, let's do some factory footage. And that's factory footage for this week. 3D printing, we got a speed up this week. We're gonna do speed up, and then we're gonna roll right into Ion MPI. Here we go. Alrighty, don't forget the code is analog. Let's go over to Ion MPI.
On MPI.
Ion MPI brought to you by DigiKey. Thanks, DigiKey. This week it is Worth Electronic. Ladyada, what is Ion MPI this week? New product introduction.
Okay, people are gonna love this. This is like a classic comeback. This week it's the Worth Electronic IC LED. You'll be like, man, that looks really familiar. That looks just like a NeoPixel. Well, you're right. Worth Electronic now has their own version of the high quality NeoPixel compatible IC LED. It's 4 different shapes of LED sizes that have RGB diodes in them, plus their own IC that they designed inside, that then controls it using a 1-wire protocol that has, the Manchester coding, similar to what, I call NeoPixel, but some people say is, WS2812 compatible, etc. Lots of library examples work with it, so you're good to go. And I'm actually really glad to see this because I've had a lot of contacts from industry say, I want to add NeoPixels into a product, and I'd always say like, I don't know if I would do that because the supply isn't really trustworthy. It's great for hobbyist products, but I don't know if I'd ship it into like a finished good that costs more than like $10. Just talk about the history of these LEDs because I still see products that use PWM drivers. So look, if you have a microcontroller that has a lot of pins and each one of them can drive 10 milliamps, you can of course connect your RGB LEDs, one diode to each pin and PWM them with a timer. I've absolutely done that myself. But the minute you get into like more than 2 or 3 LEDs, you might want a driver. So this is the TLC 5947, which is a classic. Uses SPI input with like a latch, and then it will do the PWMing with constant current. With constant current for up to 8 RGB LEDs. And they can also do it high voltage. And people still use these. I see these are used in automotive a lot. They're also great for people just breadboarding. You can see like here, you just because they're constant current, you don't need extra resistors. You just plug in the LEDs, you give them power, and you can chain these. You can see there's input and outputs on either end. So if you need more LEDs, you just chain them together, and then you just send more data. So we've had this for many years, and people used them and loved them. But the chips are kind of big. They're not inexpensive. I mean, they're great quality. But you have the cost of the LED plus the cost of the chip, and the chip is kind of big. So if you need a small PCB size, you're kind of out of luck. And then like in 2011, basically the invention of the smart LED chip came about. And there's a chip, you can see it in the middle there. This is a 14 or 16 pin SOIC. You connect 2 RGB LEDs to it, and then you send it a chained SPI data with 2 data pins, or maybe it was 3 data pins. And no, I think it says 2 digital pins, data and clock. And then when you finish the clock, you send a long clock pulse, it latches, and you can connect as many as you want. So they're chainable, and they're, what's nice is that you can very easily chain them. They're very small and they're very inexpensive. And the protocol was really simple. So this was a big improvement. So people started making like LED strips and stuff with them. And then the next generation, a year later, was the WS811, which you can see here is these old floor RGB pixels. You'd have the chip on the back and then the LED on the front, and these were SOIC 8s, so much smaller than all these other previous chips. And they used a one-wire protocol because, called again NeoPixel or WS2811 compatible. And then you could chain as many as you want. So this was even smaller, less expensive, and could do 1 LED per. But then the real brilliance was that when companies invented the idea of putting the chip inside the LED. So by integrating it together, you had, and this is like the original WS2811 or 2012. It's got 6 pins. Nowadays you see the 4-pin version because they got rid of the extra power pin, and then there was I think there was a speed pin they got rid of. But by putting the chip inside, your bill of materials now got a lot simpler and a lot smaller. You could just put these LEDs anywhere you wanted, connect power, ground, and then chain the data wire along. The problem is, and I've dealt with a lot of these in my past, is there's a lot of different companies making these, compatible NeoPixel-like chips. And I've definitely had issues with some batches where I'd get like a bad batch of LEDs in a reel. And, if one LED is bad, like you can't rework them. They're really hard to solder, really hard to rework. You pretty much have to toss the PCB or do like a very intense, rework job to try to get the LED off and then solder a new one on. And they do not like to be hand soldered. So it's a lot of work. It's a real pain. And bad LEDs or rotated LEDs, happen pretty commonly. Also, you have to keep them very dry. It's very easy if you overheat them for the LEDs to crack during rework. Another thing is, they can fail in the field, and if one NeoPixel fails, all the ones after it fail. So it's like very noticeable if you have like one bad LED, because even if you have like 1,000, only one fails. If that 1,000 is in the middle or the beginning, the entirety stops working. So having a good quality, reliable tested, traceable LED vendor for smart LEDs is a really, really good idea. So definitely I would recommend if you want to use these kinds of LEDs in a product that will go to people, it is like more than just like a little throwaway toy. Use the Worth LEDs because they actually come specified. So there's 4 sizes. There's a 5 by 5 millimeter, I think 2.5 by 2.5 millimeter side angle, and the 2 by 2 millimeter tiny one. Those are my favorites. The real advantages, like I said, is reliability, solderability. They have they don't cheap out on the contacts. They don't cheap out on the potting for the LED. So you don't end up with one bad batch like ruining your entire build. These are the shapes and sizes in rendering. The protocol is, like I said, it's compatible with most NeoPixel fast LED implementations. You can see the timing. They specify their timing. They did their chip from almost certainly they did a chip from scratch. So their timing is guaranteed for the silicon. It's not going to change from batch to batch. And it's well tested. Another thing I really like is they will quantify their luminous intensity. So instead of just being like, okay, each batch might be different, who knows? Like some are more reddish, some are more greenish. They're like, no, we will actually publish specifications for the dominant wavelength and the luminous intensity min and max. So you're going to get a consistent LED with RoHS reach, halogen, and photobiological safety, all certified and ready to go. So it's not like some mystery supplier. Data sheets also have great package diagrams. There's CAD models for all of the LEDs as well. And this is like the 2 by 2 millimeter one, which I really like because it's like so tiny. It's great for adding indicators. I use it all on my feathers. And this is a feathering that they made. I will show the video demonstrating like very high pitch, high density with only one GPIO pin used. And they're in stock. They come in reels. You can pick up, right now they have 1,000 stock. They had more, but they actually sold a bunch out. You can order from DigiKey and they'll get them from Worth for you. You can get them in a reel, 3,000 pieces per reel. You can get them in DigiReel if you like as well.
All right, we have a video.
Yep.
You will see the display is going to scroll through, or the LED is going to scroll through the whole display. This is our simple test on the functioning. Now, as you see, we included some logos, some scrolling text. If you see, we have a feather stack with the sensors and the Bluetooth module. This is our microcontroller. So whenever we change the direction of the board, the text is going to be in the same direction. This is not going to change. Now, when scrolling over, oops, there. So you will see the rainbow scrolling through the board. We also have the price tag included. As you see, it's not only fixed text, it can be also dynamic text. We go through the next animation. Some emojis, for example, can be also displayed. Now we're reading out information from the sensors in the sensor board or on the sensor board. As you see, you have the humidity, relative humidity values. And here is the Bluetooth module. So the LED or the microcontroller is going to read out the information. It's going to keep sending this send BLE data. And when the data is received from our Proteus Connect application, then you will see the text is going to change.
on NPI.
Okay, we're gonna do new product, because we have just one this week. The code is Adalonger. Let's kick it off.
New.
All right, well, this is a big product for us, so
No.
that's why it's the sole
Some weeks
product,
we
new
have
product of the week.
one, but you know what? It's a good product. You know, if we're gonna do, you can do one product.
Yeah,
We'll have last week we had a bunch. Some weeks we have a bunch. Some we do. It's okay. It's okay.
Adalonger.
Analogger, but now with the RP 2040, I realized I hadn't made this version. I thought I did. Because we have a bunch of those, the bones boards, like, you know, it's the same stuff on the left. And then the thing on the right changes. So we have a one with like a LoRa module. We have a version with a USB host, one with DVI. Now everyone with a micro SD card. Connected up for SPI or SDIO. It's great for reading or writing data from any micro SD card. You still got all the great stuff of all of our other RP 2040 bones board, USB Type C on the left, red LED for blinking, battery charging with built-in LiPo battery charger and automatic, you know, switchover, 8 MB of flash, memory, boot and reset button, RP 2040 chip with all the crystals and passives, Stemma QT for connecting sensors, OLEDs, encoders, and more. And of course, micro SD card with the card detect pin, so you can detect when somebody's plugged something in. And it's on the second SPI port, so you don't have to share the main port. You can have a separate SPI interface just for the micro SD. They're in stock now. A great update from the Feather M0, to be honest. A lot of people are like, you know, what's the next step up? This is going to be less expensive and more powerful than the Feather M0. So slowly phasing out the SAMD21, trying to push people more to the RP 2040.
That is new products.
Yay! New.
Okay, cool. Don't forget the code is Adalog, and there's all that free stuff that you can get as well. We're gonna do questions. I have a couple stored up. You can post them up on Discord while we do some top secret. We have a bunch of top secret tonight.
You'll know that there'll be a lot of new products in a couple of weeks because a lot of top secret.
So we have about 4 videos to show you for some top secret. So get comfy. All right, Ladyada, what's this?
Okay, I'm trying out this prototype I made with the Max. I think it's either the 2323 or the 3232. It's a RS-232, so like plus or minus up to 10 volts to UART, 3 or 5 volt logic and power. This is the breakout board on here, and I've got it wired up to my Metro Mini. So I'm powering it from 3 or 5 volts. And then over here, I've got this really handy cable, which I think I'll also stock. So it's USB, and it gives you RS-232, so like, you know, high voltage, and then also UART level if needed. But it's great because you can see the LED. And then what I've done is I've wired this up in like a loopback mode. So the TX goes in here, goes over here, and then there's like a little bridge, and then back to the RX. And ditto with the CTS and RTS lines. Sorry, RTS, yeah, RTS and CTS. So I can, you know, always test this with UART TTL, but the easier way is just to use this XCTU, which lets me, you know, if I type something, it shows me that I've sent a character and it's echoed back. And then when I click the RTS line, you see the CTS line toggles with it. So now I know that it's working great. So this is going to be really handy for people doing retro tech or interfacing with RS-232 technologies. So it'll be in the shop soon.
All right, Ladyada, what's this?
Okay, I'm testing out my new HUSB 238 Type-C power delivery chip. This time, instead of using just I2C, although this does have an I2C connection, you can use this like really tiny but still very usable dip switch selector to determine which voltage you want. So I have this plugged into a USB PD power supply, and you can see on the side here it says what voltages it can do. So it can do like 5, 9, 12, 15, and 20. So I'm going to plug this in here. So then I've got my multimeter set up to measure the output voltage, and it's got 5 volts. And then if I get my little, where'd my screwdriver go? Oh, here it is. Little screwdriver that I can use. So let me turn off the 5 volts and instead set it to 9. So now I got 9 volt output, and then I can select 12 volt output, and then you can try 15, that one works. And then remember, this one doesn't support 18, so when I select 15, it actually, so if I select 18 on the dip switch, it actually goes back to 15 because it uses the highest available within the request, and then 20. So you got a little LED to let you know that the power is good, those little dip switches. And then of course, if you want to, customize selecting the voltage dynamically, you can use I2C. So this is all assembled, ready to go. So it's a great little USB Type-C power delivery dummy board with dip switch selectable voltage.
All right, Ladyada, what's this?
Hey, we got a request to make an IR transceiver that's not IRDA. It's literally just like transmit and receive 38 kilohertz IR. So this is 2 IR LEDs, and you'll notice they're actually not blinking right now because I didn't connect the transmit. And then this is the infrared receiver, and so it decodes 38 kilohertz IR signal. And then to make it easy to mount it and connect, I put a JST-PH connector on. And then I've got this demo running using this Metro Mini from the IR remote library, which is a great library. And so what's nice is I actually really like the little LEDs on here. You can see when I press the remote, the in LED lights up. And then this is the transmit pins. When I connect that, you'll see both blink because it's transmitting, and now you can see the IR LEDs transmitting, and of course the receiver is picking up the output from this. And so you can see it's now in kind of a loop back mode where it's like sending data, receiving data. This is good. It means it all works. So this will be really handy for people who want to make something that transmits and receives infrared remote signal, having all in one with a little debug output LED as well. So it should make it really easy to mount and create infrared projects. So coming soon to the Adafruit shop.
All right, Ladyada, what's this?
Okay, so this is a little doodad from IKEA called the Vindringting. And this is a PM2 sensor, and you can see the PM2 sensor with, here's the PM2 sensor, and a fan enclosed in a little box. And there's a tiny little SOIC8 microcontroller on here, powered by USB-C. It reads the data from the PM2.5, controls the fan, and then lights up red, yellow, green LEDs. And it looks like there's also like a IR LED, either input or output here as well. So it's a little standalone board for air quality sensing, but of course, let's internetify it. So I'm helping out Liz, who's doing most of the project, but we're making a layout board for an ESP32S2 module. And then at the bottom here, you've got the USB-C, boot and reset buttons, NeoPixels, so you'll be able to do more than just red, yellow, and green, connectors for the PM2.5 and Molex, and then also I2C sensor if you want to add more sensors like temperature and humidity. And then you'll be able to connect it to Home Assistant or Adafruit IO or just to your very own network or have it send emails. So it'll be a IoT-ified version of this sensor. And the cool thing is you'll be able to just unplug these parts, plug in the new board, no soldering required, just put it back together, and it'll work as is, but now even better with internet.
And that's top secret. Okay, I got a bunch of questions lined up. We're going to go to them right now. Beep.
All right.
Okay, some of these I'll do in order. Some of these will just be
Sure.
what makes sense. Okay, someone asked this question. It was answered in the chat. How do we emulate a landline over digital? That's if you want to do a modem. There's a neat little library that someone did with Arduino. There's a lot of other things because there's a lot of retro hardware. Scroll back in the Discord. It's like
Yeah, I mean, somebody could do like a fake PPP daemon over Arduino. It's work, but somebody I'm sure has done it.
okay. Do these come in reels, ribbons?
Yeah, they come in reels, and you can get cut tape or digi-reels. So any quantity you want, it'll come in one long continuous strip.
This is the Worth WL IC LED.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, why RP2040 over a ESP32 for ADA logger?
A lot of people, like an ARM Cortex. There's some times that I'll be honest, like the RP2040 is a little bit more reliable than the ESP32. If you don't need Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, I think RP2040 is an excellent choice. It's a little less expensive too, to be honest, and better power. you know, because with the espresso, if you're running like this dual core at 240 megahertz, and you've got this Wi-Fi, and it's also bigger. The chip for the RP2040 is much smaller.
Okay, have you ever worked with the 5-inch plus 16 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte Rock chip RK3588 8-core 64 single bit board computer?
Nope.
No. And the question was, if so, how would you use HDMI in? Well, you don't, so don't know.
I don't know. Ask in the forums for Orange Pi.
Yeah, that would be Orange Pi. They'll probably know. And then the other question was, can you make something like the Pimoroni Unicorn hat, 16 by 16 pixel, but with buttons on top like the Pimoroni button doohickey for Raspberry Pi? 5 should be good and be connected via I2C, the buttons it is.
I don't have any current plans, but you should ask Pimoroni. Like they might.
Yeah, they might do
this. Like they often make modifications on their products, and if a bunch of people ask for something, they'll probably do it.
Okay, have you seen the XRP Open Roblox platform from DigiKey and others? Yes, SparkFun's doing that.
Yes.
Any plans for Adafruit team to work on projects using that platform? Well, it has connectors that work with our stuff.
Yeah, you can use our sensors for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm not a huge roboticist, and I'm not really.
Yeah, here's what we
Maybe when our kid is old enough first, right? Then I'll like really get into it.
Here's what we do with robotics platforms, because there's so many and schools are kind of set on what they have to do, and they kind of have to reinvent everything over and over. We kind of do a wait and see, and hopefully there'll be an open source robotics platform that gets some traction, and then if it makes sense, maybe we'll make some accessories, maybe we'll make our own, who knows.
Yeah.
But right now there's so many. If you do any type of robotics curriculum, we have a Cricut. We have a robotics platform. Everyone has a robotics platform.
Yeah.
Parallax has one. Not Pimoroni.
The Pimoroni has like two.
Yeah, Pimoroni has. No, they do. But Pololu has one too.
Well,
So
that's a bunch.
they have. In fact, they're well known for that. So
there's a lot.
yeah. Okay. Next up, can you use Adalogger? Can Adalogger 2040 run code from an SD card?
It can with CircuitPython. Your main code will run on the internal flash, but then you can always import a Python file from the SD card.
Yeah. If you have an ESP32, you could log to the cloud if you wanted to do one of those.
Yeah, I think there might be an ESP Adalogger, but it's
We're not opposed to it.
Not today. Not
Yeah.
today.
For follow up, how do you get a hold of Pimoroni? Easy. You can go to Pimoroni.com. You can go to their Discord.
Yeah.
You can use their contact form. You can go to the 20 places. They're on all social media, just like everybody else.
Discord and their site are the best
Yeah,
way.
they have a Discord. They also have a live. They have the what's it called, the Bilge.
I don't know if they've done those lately.
They do have a video show that they do. So do check that
I think
out.
during COVID it got.
Yeah, they have one once in a while though.
Okay.
Okay, let me see if there's any more questions before I go off. No there, no there.
And that's it.
Yeah, if you're watching this on Instagram, they only do vertical video.
Yeah, watch it on YouTube if you want the horizontal one.
Yeah. Okie dokie, I'm gonna call it going once, going twice.
Thanks, everybody.
That is your Ask an Engineer. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget the code is ADALOG. 2% off an Adafruit store, free stuff in the USA, and more. Pick up one of these. These are really nice boards. RP24 to ADALogger. This has been an Adafruit production. We will see everybody next week.
Bye.
Here's your moment of Zener.
Thank you.